என்னடா யோசிக்கிற? There is nothing to think so much மச்சான். தைரியமா போ. ட்ரஸ்டபிள்ரா. 3 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி என்ன பார்த்துருக்கல, இப்போ நான் பார்க்குறல்ல. How confident I am because I have taken a right decision. நான் கொடுத்த அட்ரஸ் போய் விசிட் பண்ணு. You will have a personal care from them.
எல்லா பேஷண்ட்ஸுக்கும் பர்சனல் கேர் தராங்க. 30 years of proven medical records. All eye care treatment under one roof. அதான் ஆர்கே ஐ சென்டரோட ஸ்பெஷாலிட்டி.
My dear children of God, it's my pleasure to be with you all once again for this episode, how to lead a life that would be pleasing to the Lord. Human beings are the highest creation of God, whom He is training for an assignment in eternity. In Revelation 3:21, He says, "As I overcame and sat in my Father's throne, those who overcome, I'll make them to sit in my throne." So before He grooms us for that eternal assignment, He is grooming us here on earth as a prelude to teach us and train us to make us fit for those assignments at a later date. This is what I have learnt in my life. As I was telling you earlier also, we have seen how many heroes in the Bible have been trained and elevated later because of the training to take up greater assignments. Particularly we saw the life of Joseph. He was a pampered child, wearing nice colored dress and not exposed to any of hard working. His brothers were shepherding the sheep and things like that. Yet we see how God had put him through difficult surroundings in teaching and training him at Potiphar's house as a slave and a servant, and later at jail under the chief jailer, and to administer all the governmental administration standards, so that later on he could go out and not only interpret the dream for the Pharaoh king, but also give him solution. And when he gave the solution, when Pharaoh told him, "You be that person to execute it," he could execute it, of storing the grain during the first 7 years at 20% each year, so that the next 7 years of famine, he could feed all the hungry people and help them to survive from death. When Joseph entered Potiphar's house as a servant, he was 17 years old. But when he was elevated to next in command to Pharaoh, he was 30 years. So for 13 long years, God has been training him in Potiphar's house and in the jail. But when he was made a slave at Potiphar's house, he wouldn't have known that after 13 years, there's going to be a situation where his talents are going to be used. He wouldn't have known. Only God knows. We only know the past and the present. God also knows the future. In Isaiah 46:10, he says, "I know the end from the beginning." So my dear children of God, when we are put through tough situations, we should not lose our heart. God has a master plan behind those tough situations. Unless Joseph learnt all those skills and undergone the training, he couldn't have fared well when Pharaoh gave him the assignment of storing up all this plenty of grain and distributing it during the famine time. Same thing happened to me. As I was telling you, even my college education, chemical engineering, had all the departments of engineering, civil, mechanical, electrical. Because of that, I could take up lot of turnkey jobs later in my life. And my first 5 years of job at government trained me on how to float the tender on a 2-bit system and decide on the contractors, what all these contractors will try to do, how to approve the drawing. All these things got taught me there. And later, during my 12 years of service at a private organization, again he trained me on to booking all the new orders in utilities like boilers, chillers, piping, firefighting, sponge iron plants, all varied fields by recruiting consultants, specialists and going along with them to meet the client and consultant, getting to know all new fields and execute all these projects on a turnkey basis, right from design, engineering, fabrication, supply to erection, testing and commissioning. All these things got taught me. Because of that, later on, he could make me an entrepreneur doing similar things, but for my own benefit. Also helped me to establish practice for my wife who was working at Shankara Nethralaya. I requested her to come out, helped her to start a private practice. All these things were possible because of the exposure what I got. Similarly, my dear children of God, we all get exposures. We should pray for exposures. During the exposure time, we may go through a lot of difficulties, but we should realize that it is God who is training us for warfare, for our later on life and for achieving our goals. God knows our goals. He knows the end from the beginning. But unless we are trained, we cannot face such situations and excel in our assignments. So we go about it and learn all those things. Even as I was in my private job, I encouraged my wife to leave her job at Shankara Nethralaya and start her private practice in 1989. And I jumped into my own entrepreneurship in the year 1992 within 3 years of her starting. And I struggled hard. The very first job was heavy vehicle factory for CVRD, Compact Vehicle Research Establishment, for a 10 lakh job. 10 lakhs was a very huge money in those days. I am talking about early 90s. I had to buy a compressor valued at 2 lakhs, big value at that time. The vendors were not giving me credit and I didn't have bank facilities to take bank funds and give it to the vendor to take that material and give it to the client and collect the money. There's a big gap. There's a big gap between these two, supply and collecting the money from the client. But God moved the heart of many suppliers at the right time. They were moved to give me credit for the boilers. So because they were giving credit for my boilers, initially it was compressor, 2 lakhs compressor, value of 2 lakhs. Because they gave me credit for 2 lakhs, I could execute the 10 lakhs project and made some money. And later on, I could venture into 50 lakhs and 1 crore project involving boilers, IBR boilers, Indian boiler regulation, which is supposed to be high pressure and high tech boilers. Not only boilers, connected with the fuel handling system, firefighting system and water treatment, all connected together, high pressure piping, all put together. I used to compete with other big giants and used to take these orders. And slowly but steadily I was developing my ability to execute higher and higher value orders. But when I was entering into 1992 into my own job, Flotham Engineers Private Limited, I never knew God was starting another project at Defence at Delhi called to be executed at Naval Physical Oceanographic Laboratory, DRDO, Defence Research Development Organization, a premier thing for deep sea simulation for acoustic testing. This the initial things were being started at 1992. Only later on, when I booked that order in the year 1996, I realized this project was also being started from concept to ordering stage. It took tender floating stage, it came up to 1996, but the initial seed was put in 1992. I didn't know that. But in 1992, if I had been asked to compete for the job, nowhere I could have competed for it, because it was 10 crore, huge value, high jump, and involving lot of equipment to be bought from abroad. I had to import lot of equipment. As we go on, I will share. But God will help you to get trained in smaller things, develop you, make some money, and give you advice to invest in the right way. Normally when we see money, we get enamored. We wanted to buy flashy cars and go for thing, but I didn't do that. First I bought was my own wife's OP, outpatient, because she was practicing till then in a private rented apartment. That was my first priority. Next priority was for her operation theatre. Second investment was that. Third was my own office. Till then I was also doing it in a smaller place. So slowly in real estate I was investing. Because of that I could get a better bank facility from the bankers. Initially with one property I could get 5 lakhs bank facility from Central Bank of India. No way it could have helped me to book orders of 10 crore magnitude later. But with that 5 lakhs I could execute some of these boiler packages, and I could go to State Bank of India, next only to Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India doesn't give you bank facilities, only State Bank of India gives. Siruthol branch at Chatpet. I became a client for them there, and showed my turnover and got a 50 lakhs bank facility, from 5 to 50, 10 times more. So that bank helped me. So slowly I was building up. So but at that time I didn't know that this 10 crore project was in the inception, and it was getting implemented slowly. In 1992, the same year when I started Flotham Engineers Private Limited, Ministry of Defence had sanctioned establishment of special acoustic test facility at NPOL, DRDO Cochin. The test facility would provide acoustic calibration, test and evaluation of reference measurements on acoustic transducers and materials, and apply state of the art advanced to metrology and instrumentation used for the purpose. Chief Construction Engineer R&D was commissioned, and they were asked to deploy Macon in 1992 to do the detailed engineering. And finally, they were putting up this, and it came to a tendering stage in 1995, and in 1996 they were floating the tender, and I was by that time ready to take up orders from 1 crore to even this 10 crore order, which I booked it later. But my dear children of God, this giant leap wouldn't have been possible unless I had been exposed and trained in all these areas. So God takes us through difficult passages, makes us to grow slowly but steadily, but we should be tuned to His ears and take the job seriously. He says, good and faithful servant, you have been faithful in small things, I will make you in charge of big things. So when we were faithful in small things, the client will call you and give the jobs again and again. Because of that, you can slowly but steadily grow in your business. And because of that, if you invest wisely in appreciating assets and not depreciating assets like luxury cars and gadgets, when you keep appreciating assets, that can come to your help in getting the bank facility, which is much needed for executing turnkey projects. God will teach you. But you should be amenable and malleable to all these teachings and go about it. In Deuteronomy 28:13, God says, "The Lord will make you the head and not the tail, if you pay attention to the commands of the Lord your God that I give you this day and carefully follow them. You will always be at the top, never at the bottom." So, my dear children of God, we obey our God, He will take us, elevate us. If you want to see other episodes of these videos, you can always visit YouTube, Narendranath, or website www.divine2.asia. So, as I was telling you, me and my wife were just employees to start with, but slowly God had helped us to get trained and made as entrepreneurs at a later date, but it had its own struggles and path was not very smooth. So, my dear children of God, until I meet you again, I take leave. Thank you.
Appointment வாங்கிட்டல?
வாங்கிட்டேன்க்கா.
Hey, why are you getting nervous? Last month பிரியா குட்டியோட அங்க தான் விசிட் பண்ணேனா. எக்கனாமிக்கல்டா. இன்சூரன்ஸ் கூட கிளைம் பண்ணிக்கலாம். premature பேபிஸ்ல இருந்து ஓல்ட் ஏஜ் பீப்பிள் வரைக்கும் விசிட் பண்ற ஒரு இடம்.
எல்லா பேஷண்ட்ஸுக்கும் பர்சனல் கேர் தராங்க. 30 years of proven medical records. RK Eye Center டி நகர்ல இருக்கிறதுனால accessible to all places.
Youngsters, you guys must take the right decision at the right time with the right people.